How does God relate to his creation? That is the question we'll be answering in this episode of Thinking Christianly. Hello everyone, this is Dr. Todd. Before we get started, let me remind you, if you enjoy watching these videos, don't forget to click the subscribe button below. Also, if you have any questions about this video or requests for future videos, please leave them in the comments section below. Now, on to our topic. How does God relate to his creation? Well, God is both actively involved in his creation, yet he's also above and beyond it. Theologians like Millard Erickson call this God's immanence and his transcendence. In this brief video, I'm going to define these two terms and then show you the importance of keeping both doctrines in balance as we minister to hurting people. First, let's talk about immanence. What does immanence mean? Well, Erickson describes immanence in this way. He says, the meaning of immanence is that God is present and active with his creation and with the human race, even those members who do not believe or obey him. His influence is everywhere. So immanence means that God is actively at work in his creation. It means that he's close to us. He even uses ordinary things and ordinary people to accomplish his purpose and plans. The scriptures tell us that he's near. In Acts 17, 27 and 28, Paul says that God is not far from us, but God is more than just with us. He's also above us. And this being above us is what transcendence means. He is completely other than the rest of his creation. He's not like anything or anyone else in the universe. He is above, he is beyond. We see this truth when we read passages of Scripture like Isaiah 55, 8 and 9, where we see that his thoughts are not our thoughts and his ways are not our ways. And elsewhere in Isaiah, particularly in chapter 6, we see Isaiah getting a glimpse of God for the first time, and we see that he's definitely not like us as human beings. He is glorious beyond description. He's worthy of praise and honor and glory. So we see that God is both near yet far away. Well, the problem we have as sinful human beings, though, is that due to our fallenness, we often have a distorted view of God. We will tend to emphasize one of these attributes to the detriment of the other. This imbalancing gives us a picture of God either, as Erickson puts it, as a celestial police officer looking to hammer us, or as a pleasant yet harmless old grandpa. Well, neither portrait is completely accurate. If you want to help those who you minister to, you must help them gain a clearer picture of God. Let me give you a couple of examples of what can happen when we lean one way or the other too much or too far on this continuum of immanence and transcendence. As I think about it, two examples from our counseling center over the years come to mind. First, an overemphasis on immanence can lead to hyper-spirituality in the perception of the counselee. For instance, I once had a female counselee who had been battered by her boyfriend. She had planned on breaking up with him. However, as she was driving down the street, she saw a sign. It had a number on it. It was 17th Street, if I recall. And as she told me the story, she said that she'd been on her way to break up with him, but she saw the street sign. God reminded her that his birthday was on March 17th. And from this revelation, she deduced that God indeed did not want her to break up with her batterer. Instead, God wanted her to work it out with him. Brings me to another story. And this one is about transcendence, because when we emphasize transcendence too much, it can alleviate us from taking responsibility for our own actions or inactions. On another occasion, I counseled a woman whose husband was openly committing adultery. When I asked her how confronting him had gone, she said, well, I didn't say anything. When I questioned this course of action, or I guess better said, this course of inaction, she told me that God is bigger than my marriage and he can save it. He doesn't need me to intervene. In essence, this woman was engaging in the cognitive distortion of wishful thinking and failing to take responsibility for confronting her philandering husband. You see, in both of these cases, the counselees distorted their views of God in order to manage their own anxieties in these situations related to their fears of abandonment. By doing so, they did not face their problems, and they ended up with a distorted view of God. And by the way, neither of these ladies were able to salvage their relationships with their partners. A balanced view of God's immanence and transcendence, though, would have helped them bring God into the problem, and they could have probably, or most assuredly, been more effective in facing their problems. Well, I hope this talk has been helpful. If you have any questions or suggestions for future videos, please leave them in the comments below. Until next time, God bless, and we'll talk again soon.